not run about that. I will admit. Alright, I'm going to press any buttons because I think this is the perfect, what do they call this? Thumbnail just for this. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. This is not a walkthrough, playthrough. This is not pretty much any additional extra content like the quarry. This is not commentary. Well, it pretty much is. This, da 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 da, is the verdict video. And I'm excited to do this. I wanted to do the Corey first before, but the medium just left such an impact on me. If I had to pick between the medium and the Corey, the medium easily, and I know why I enjoy the crap out of medium. This time, I actually did a script. I'm gonna freaking ad-lib the crap out of this. Oh yes, I'm ad-libbing it all. You guys know my bit. That's why you guys stick around the channel, because I just make up my script on the spot. I don't usually go by the script. I guess I'd be a horrible actor. But nah. Alright. So, if you've been a new or returning subscriber, or new or returning viewer, you know that basically I pretty much tell you how it is, my experience. I don't try to go based on like the professional game critics. I just go based on my own personal experience. And I don't usually take notes of this, but I'm going to try something different for the verdict videos going forward. I'm going to take notes of the negative, positive, put it in writing, really put it in text, and then kind of like free ball of what I enjoyed about it. I'm not going to do it like word by word of what the notes I did, but I'm going to pretty much like call out the positive and negative so I don't really miss them. And my usual style is usually talking about give the score first, then talk about the negative first, then the positive. That sums up my pretty much my verdict video, and I think it's worked, and it helps the new returning subscribers or new returning viewers just to kind of keep an eye of what games will pique their interest. Or if the game doesn't look appealing to them, they can always watch my video and of course leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Ha! Perfect transition. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so the official score of the medium. I am saying this in a professional voice. Nah, let's just do it. Is a 9 out of 10. You're probably wondering why I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Get out of here, play the game yourself, watch the verdict video. Watch the videos, and you'll see why I got a 9 out of 10. That's the end of the verdict video. Goodbye. Alright, so we just did that fake out, so now let's actually do the real verdict video, because that's what you guys came here for. And also pretty much watching a playthrough, walkthrough. Okay, I tried to ignore the negative of the medium. It's a solid game. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. This is a game made for people like me or someone who's actually played Solid Hill. If you played Solid Hill and enjoyed the series until they kind of crippled itself when they got past 4, then you're going to like it. This is kind of like pre-Silent Hill before they kind of crippled themselves after Silent Hill 4. It's not that Silent Hill series is not still a great series, but you could tell that the quality over quantity just really declined after 4. You could tell that they were just kind of putting out cash grab instead of actually legit games, like, Silent Hill 2 and 3 and the original Silent Hill that started the series. The game, not the movie. And of course, Silent Hill 4, it wasn't maybe the best, but it was still intriguing, and I heard some good things about that. It's pretty much when they got to Silent Hill, whatever it is, and Dark, I think it was Downpour or something. But anyway, this is not pretty much about Silent Hill, even though to me it was clearly based on Silent Hill. Alright, so negative. I couldn't ignore it, but it's Marianne, the main characters, over-analyzing pretty much plot devices, objects, and all that. Here's an example. She basically she examines a plot device. What's this feeling I have? Regret, guilt, sadness. I was like, yeah, Marianne, you didn't have to over-explain of how you're feeling. We could see from your body language you're uncomfortable with the situation. You could feel a spiritual presence. Every time she does it, but she doesn't do it all the time. It's the first half. It's annoying as crap. It's annoying. The second half, she doesn't do it at all. It's actually non-existent. It's like once she gets her memories back, and I'm going to major story spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, watch pretty much my entire playthrough from 1 to 2, or 1 to 12, and then come back here. I'm not waiting. We're doing this. Once she gets her memories back, after pretty much, and we don't know the name of the creature, it's the Maw. It's pretty much the Maw. I'm sorry I'm spoiling it, but that's the name of the freaking creature. But basically, the Maw put her, or she basically, the Maw, or it, convinced Lily, her sister, to burn the house down, and then she lost her memories and was literally put in a coma. And then she lost her memories after she was literally pretty much in a fire, and she almost burned to death, and she was put in a coma. So they overanalyze it, we can excuse, but it doesn't. We excuse it because it happened, because she was a kid. She has trauma, so that makes sense. It's just that it doesn't make sense why she's overanalyzing everything at the beginning. Her dad, Thomas, when we play him, not a spoiler, but when we play Thomas, he doesn't overanalyze. He just lets us figure it out, look at the object, read the object, doesn't overanalyze things. He just only talks when it's in the cutscene, which makes total sense. That's natural in reality. You don't have to basically be a speed wagon from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh my gosh, they're doing a super move. Oh my gosh, they're running at you. That's what Marion did pretty much the first half. And if you can look past that, then you'll enjoy the crap out of the game. But if you can't, it's going to be annoying. And I will admit it's annoying too. I don't know what Bloober Game was thinking and the other company I'm trying to acknowledge, and I acknowledged them at the opening. I did. But I can't deny Marion's character development, or her character, is it's grating, it's annoying when she's over analyzing the crap out of stuff. But yeah, you gotta look past it. You gotta like push past that. Once she gets her memories back, then she becomes a character, and her character development does very well in the second half. It's great in the first half. Don't get me wrong. Her father figure, Jack, dying sets up the game very well. It's just pretty much you gotta deal with the over analyzing, and then she's great after that. Okay, so now that's pretty much the only negative I could find. It wasn't like a minor one, it was a negative I had to address, unfortunately. Now, positive. Luckily, I made some notes, so I know what the positive are. I love its murder. Well, it's not a murder mystery, supernatural story. I love it. Oh, yeah. It was different, and I highly enjoyed it. And I'll tell you why. So, my first note was story has excellent pacing, the mysteries that are present throughout the story are answered in a very concrete way. So, let's explain that. Whatever mysteries they set up at the beginning, when she's talking to an unknown figure we don't know, it's immediately answered towards the end. There's only two plot holes I noticed. Basically, Thomas, the real Thomas, is alive in basically the spirit world, and we don't know how he got there during the time that it's now 1999, but basically when Marianne meets her sister. Spoiler alert. Okay, so that's one plot device. And another major plot device, too, we don't know what happened to Henry. We don't know if he's alive. We only know Thomas hit him, and that's it. We don't know if he's actually confirmed dead. And the other plot device, but that's the ending that set it up. So that's not really a plot device. It's more of this could lead to a sequel. I'll explain why. But I love the whole supernatural storyline that they did. There's so many mysteries. Yeah, there's so many mysteries. It sets up at the beginning, and then it pretty much answers it through pretty much great storytelling throughout the whole experience. So whoever that Marianne's talking to at the beginning gets answered towards pretty much the end in a very natural and concrete way. Like, it perfectly set it up. Well, we didn't know it was Thomas' spirit that she was talking to, and then she pretty much summarized the entire storyline that we freaking played, and I love it. I loved every part of it. I loved how they set it up, the conversation. I love how that Marianne met Thomas' spirit. It made sense that he's kind of like he's been there for 29 years in his spirit world, so of course he's out of the loop of what's actually been happening since the real Thomas. We don't know where he is until the Stinger ending. But the story has great mystery and foreboding, and you don't know what's going on until you really do deep dives. The collectibles, and I'm going to include this in this one, the collectibles do a great job of fleshing the backstory of Neowald Resort, of what's going on, giving you insight into the Ma, basically played by Troy Baker. Pretty much explaining Marianne on why she is the way she is and what makes her tick. Lily, pretty much explain every character to a insane detail. Ursula is another standout too. You never even see her. You only see her through flashbacks. But everybody is, in terms of the story and mysteries, they're answered in a very natural way, and I love that. And yes, that once the mystery is answered, there's no replayability, but it's not even a nitpick. It's a solid story. I don't think they should change. I don't think there's anything that could change. Just Marion's over analysis, that's annoying, but the story is solid as a whole. I only have great things to say about this story. I think it had great pacing. Everywhere we went with Marianne, it just made sense why we had to go there because of the narrative. Every time that we switched to Thomas, her dad, the secondary protagonist, it made sense to switch to his. His sequence might not be the most interesting. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, back to the positive. So, like I was saying, story, excellent pacing, mysteries that we were pretty much, it didn't make sense. Or the Thomas that called her, I think that was the real Thomas. Everything that we were thinking, had theories about, does get answered, and not in a straightforward way. It just gets answered in a very concrete and natural way. I know I repeat that, but that's the sum of it. I like the story, and you can literally watch part 1 to part 12, trying to kind of like emphasize, hey, check it out. Yeah, that pretty much, it's a great story. I'm not going to spoil, like, well, no, I am, because this is for everybody who's seen it. Okay, that sums it up. So, moving on to the next one. Okay, and yeah, next one, it's worth acknowledging and absolutely worth acknowledging. It's not excellent voice acting. Don't mind you. Don't get me wrong, but it's great voice acting. I think for pretty much a cast of unknown actors that we never really heard of, actors and actresses we just really haven't heard of. They are, most of them are, they done work before or they're newcomers. We haven't heard most of them, and I highly appreciate it. They, all of them give like up to 100%. Like they give 100%. But you know who's really the star of it? It's Troy Baker. It's absolutely Troy Baker. He literally kills in the game, but he's really one of the standouts. Without him, the game wouldn't probably get high in my list. But with him, he kind of elevates it to get to a 9. Not to a 10, but a freaking 9 out of 10. Along with him, pretty much the guy who plays Thomas and the one who plays Mary Ann. I can't say Lily because she's not there enough. Sadness did well. But yeah, oh, the guy who plays Henry, oh yeah, he did a solid job too. But that's what I mean. It's great voice acting because it takes like, I don't know what their approach or what the developers were thinking with the voice acting, but it's great. It's great because all the characters just bounce off each other. It just makes sense of how they're talking. And let me put it this way: and when Marianne is communicating with the spirit world, it just makes sense in a realistic light. This is how they would talk in a kind of situation like this in terms of the spirit world. But yeah, it's great. Everyone gives like A plus. I wouldn't say A plus performance, but A performances from the main character, even though she analyzes everything. A performances for everyone, especially Troy Baker. Yeah, especially Troy Baker. He gives it his all, and it shows. and I will get to him pretty much in one of the other positive. But yeah, everybody, A performances, no complaint. And there wasn't even like a cringe-worthy line, too. All the lines were straight to the point. You feel the emotional vulnerability, you feel the point lines, you feel the anger. There's just no wasted line. I just couldn't find any wasted line when everyone was talking. That was really what a positive. So yeah, bravo Bloober Game and the other company. Great script writing with actually unknown actors giving their all. They clearly are giving their all. Moving on. Okay, so I gotta acknowledge it, and I think I can combine it, but it's worth acknowledging. It's a pretty much excellent use of dual screen, and what I mean is you're literally playing split screen, and not like those kind of awkward co-op split screen for the medium. No, you are literally in two screens, and it translates so well to not just the narrative, but the gameplay, the puzzles. I thought I was gonna pretty much separate the puzzles, but nope, we gotta combine it. I think I'm gonna combine it. But the dual sense, duality, the themes of trauma, duality, and moving forward, ooh, in dark territory. But that kind of goes aligns with the story. But the duality is so intricate and so unique. I haven't seen that format used in a video game in a very long while. It's been used in movies, but it hasn't been used in video games in a long while. And I loved every second whenever we had to do duality. I missed it every time. I'm like, oh, okay, so we're just going to be in one format, the spirit world, throughout the whole level, or we're going to be in the material world, but really the real world, in one section. Even in Thomas' section too, even though I think it was the more interesting in Mary Ann, I did enjoy it for the kind of like going back and forth with Thomas, but yeah, Mary Ann's sections really won me over. You know why? Because one puzzle you can't cross a barrier, and you have to cross a barrier with the spirit world, or you have to use the shield in the spirit world to benefit in terms of the real world. So it's like a give or take, or risk or reward, and it really showed with the Ma of basically when he was chasing you through the spirit world and the material world. It added to not just the narrative and the gameplay and the puzzles. And it was very unique in terms of the puzzle because it's like a give or take. So what benefits you in the spirit world will benefit you in the real world, or what benefits you in the real world that you really do need to do benefits you in the spirit world. It was so seamless and not awkward at all for those type of situation. I think it would absolutely fail. There's no way that it could work back in the, let's just say, PS3, Xbox 360, but it freaking works in terms of like the current gen. In fact, I wouldn't say it would work for the Switch. There's no way because of its technical prowess in this one. It's a crowning achievement. There's no way that games can do this as much. So it's kind of a rarity, and I'm proud that they could do it and nail it. I think the duality is actually flawless, seamless. And if we do another, let's just say we do a sequel for the Medium 2, keep it up. That's one thing I don't want you guys to change. I think you guys are doing a solid job in terms of duality. Yeah, bravo, bravo. And yeah, so that's what I mean. It adds to the narrative too, especially the end too. It's so ingrained very well towards the ending. It's perfect for that duality, and it ends. But that's one of my other positives, so we'll get to that. But it really works, and it also adds to the tension to a very insane degree, especially when it comes to the Ma. Like when you're doing the duality in terms of the Ma, in terms of the spirit world or the real world, like when you're doing it both at the same time, it makes everything tense. Everything tense, and the psychological horror is very well done too. Even when he's not around there too, it's done extremely well. I can't say anything more. It's just you have to watch my video to, and it's kind of like an acquired taste. If you can't deal with the dual split screen, you're not going to like the game because that's pretty much 90% of the game. It is in the cutscenes. It's in the cutscenes, the narrative, and the gameplay. So yeah, acquired taste. Like I said, not pretty much a cup of tea. And adding to the dual mechanic, the puzzle mechanics were fantastic too. I enjoyed the puzzle mechanics. None of them were complex, but I liked that pretty much the duality was used to a very insane, intricate, meticulous detail for the duality. It was just not boring at all. I loved how it was implemented for the puzzles. It just made sense of point A to end point, let's just say, point 1A, point 1B. It just made sense how to solve the puzzles on both sides. And it makes you kind of feel accomplished in a very, very satisfying way. That's all I can say about the puzzles. Okay, another positive that it definitely borrowed from Silent Hill. I guess really Silent Hill 1, 2. I guess the very pre Silent Hill. But the cinematography, that's kind of what adds to the horror. It's just you don't know what's around the corner. And they put the camera angle in a very Silent Hill way. You don't know what to expect, even if it's just something minor. And you have to basically pay attention to everything that's in your kind of fixed angle. But that's why Silent Hill series worked so well before they kind of got I don't know what's the word 3D before they got I don't know just more Hollywood. I think that's the best word to describe that. But yeah, the cinematography going back to like hey if it ain't broke don't fix it kind of like pre Silent Hill it absolutely works and especially when it gets to the maw yeah it you just when you don't see him and that camera angle is just it's chef's kiss. It's chef's kiss when you're running from him in that kind of angle. It's just the camera really earns it. It's great cinematography in terms of the camera. It's I never usually point out the camera and never give it a positive, but this one it was one exception. It really worked, especially if you're just kind of like taking in the sights, like going to Niwa Resort for the first time, going to the forest, going through the spirit world, especially. Yeah, everything is just great camera angle throughout the whole thing. You just gotta deal with the dual screens, but the cinematography makes up for it so well. Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised on the camera angle, and yeah, there we go. Now, I gotta make sure. I'm gonna see if I can pronounce his name right, but I'm probably gonna butcher it, so I apologize in advance if I mess up his name. Okay, so there's a few more positives. I probably overtalked on this one, but the medium really made an impact on me, and it was really one game I will not be forgetting anytime soon. But we have to acknowledge it because he was kind of the OG monster of the medium. He was the OG, and he probably freaked me out because I don't know what the hell he was. I really don't know what he was. I still don't know what he is until I got the answer towards the end, and the implications is even more scarier. I just noticed that too. The medium, it's split in the middle, and it lets you know what the game is about because it's duality. You know, that kind of spoils the game, but in a very, it doesn't spoil the game, but it's a double meaning, kind of like observation. I love that. Wow, another positive. Anyway, okay, so the mom by a pretty much once in a lifetime, but very excellent performance by Charlie Baker. Do I need to say more? Okay, I'll tell you why the Maw deserves special mention. He's an excellent antagonist. But here's why. He's basically, as I kept saying, he's basically, oh, what's the word for it? I guess he's like a Pinhead from that movie, and it's kind of pissing me off that I don't know the name of the movie. Hellraiser. There we go. Okay, so he has the creature design from Hell's Razor. He definitely has a creature design from Hellraiser. He has a Vincent. He pretty much is a invisible like Predator, and he has the voice of something like some dark creature, like Babadook or the common horror monsters. Like the mind boggles. But the Maw is that guy. He's pretty much Nemesis, but in like a creeper stalker, creepy, creepy stalker. All right, so there's so many positives that I'm going to say. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to keep it short for the mob because he's such an excellent antagonist. And if they do a sequel, bring him back. He's one of the positives. Okay, so man, and I had a lot of positive things to say about him, so I'm trying to make it short and not make this video long because I gotta get straight to the point. So, creature design. The creature design for the mod is just so it's fitting and appropriately disturbing throughout the whole thing. Every time you get a good look at him, there's just something so wrong with him. Just or it. It's there's something so wrong with it, and it's not just its creature design; it's its personality. Because when you really listen to the Ma talking, and once we know Marion's backstory, the calm, the joy, the anger, it's just so multifaceted with this monster. You don't know. It's so unpredictable. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you're getting with the Ma, and that's what's creepy about it and disturbing about it because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what the hell you're dealing with. You don't know what you're dealing with. It's so unpredictable. It's not like Alien Isolation where its movement styles it's just unpredictable, so you are just tense throughout the whole experience because you really don't know where the alien's going. But for pretty much the Ma, you do see it, but let me put it this way: the Ma takes its time to stalk you so much. It's literally a predator, and it takes its time to mess with you because it actually talks to you, and you understand what it's saying, and it's creepy, creepy, so creepy. So it's not just that sense of dread. That's where the psychological horror, the horror comes from. From it, it's the fact that you know it's coming. It could be like you could be just at a save room or just like chilling out. You haven't seen them or it for like a long while. Like you saw it at like let's just say chapter 3. Then you freaking see it towards like chapter 9. It's a recurring boss like Nemesis. You just don't know when pretty much the monster's going to show up, and it shows up at the worst time, where you became more confident, or you just learned a major plot point, then you're like, hey, did you forget about me? I was like, oh, shoot, you're back again. And it wasn't like, oh, shoot, you're back again, like in an annoying way. Like, oh, shoot, you are actually going to one-shot kill me, so I better actually get out of Dodge. But that's what I appreciate about the law. If you're going to use a villain and you're going to keep using the same villain, make the villain establish a principle and get out right out of the gate that this is no boss that you want to tangle with. It really did. It really did. Not like the Hound and Child Eater that we encountered that they're just like one off. You see them in a cutscene, you're already done with them. The Maw, it shows up every freaking time, and it's terrifying every freaking time because it changes it up. It's not the same tactics, so you gotta get clever. And once you discover its weakness, it still doesn't matter because it's still showing up. Even towards the end, the Maw is persistent and relentless because it even survives that second lightning strike. You killed it once by pushing a car, burning it with the lightning, it survives. Then you kill it again with lightning, again, it survives. And you know what? Major story spoiler. It's freaking Lily. Your sister. Your sister is literally the mom. Or she's not like the actual mom, but she, in the spirit world, Lily is the host of the mom. And so that adds a new narrative wrinkle to it in a very, very satisfying way that I was not expecting. So, in order to kill the mom, like once and for all, you literally have to kill your sister. And it sets off the biggest cliffhanger ending. You don't know where the heck it's going to go. If they do a sequel, I would be surprised. They can, but I don't. It's going to be hard to do a sequel. It will, and I think they're up for the job. I just don't know how they're going to do it. But back to the manga. Yeah, it's not just because it's creature design. That was one thing I addressed. It's pretty much determined, relentless, terrifying when you hear it speak. It's everywhere. It just brings that sense of dread. It's pretty much you just can't feel completely calm because you know that it's going to be alive and coming back for you again, more stronger than ever. So it's just like that unkillable boss you just can't kill. So there's that too. And it's just not just the creature design too. We gotta acknowledge it. It's pretty much Troy Baker talking. You know, Troy Baker who played Batman and he played the Joker. I think he got inspiration for the Joker. Did a lot of I'm sorry, don't do drugs, kid. But I think he did a lot of stuff. We'll just call it that. And that was the result. I don't know what Troy Baker, what method acting, what the developers told him to do, what they exactly told him to do. But yeah, I'm not gonna look at Troy Baker the same way from after this game. I'm just not. I'll hear his voice, but I'm like, dude, you played the mom. What happened? I was like, that was one of your kind of career performances that I would not look at you the same way as Joel or any other characters that you played that Troy Baker like charm. I just don't know what he did. This is one of his top performances. It's just the fact that it's a well known voice actor we know, and he sounds he can turn that vocal range. He sounds sad. He sounds kind of like a stalker with a crush. He sounds really angry, and he does it all in the same scene, and it's so organic, and it freaks me out just because it's him doing it. So yeah, Troy Baker, acknowledgement wise, too, you give a performance, and I'm actually pleasantly shocked. And I look forward to what you do in the future. But if you do something like this again, crap, dude, they need to pay you more. So if they do a sequel, and we know why they would do a sequel, yeah, get Troy Baker to do it. This is a role that I couldn't see anybody else doing. That's how great he is. And the developers, you don't even have to be a professional game critic. We all know that Troy Baker gave more than 100% of this role. That's why the Maw is kind of one of my favorite horror monsters in a long time. I have horror monsters that did pretty well, just from like the creature design or just their personality. Him, it's just also the voice too. So if they do a sequel, bring the Maw back, bring Troy Baker back, pay him the money he needs, and that's it. Okay, I think I did a spill, but I couldn't deny it. The Maw really makes up pretty much a good chunk of the game of why I gave the game a 9. If it was just the Maw and no other creature designs or no creatures like the Hound or Child Eater, I still would have given it a 9. The Maw just left a freaking impact on me, and we all know it. Okay, so now the last two positives. Yeah, okay, and I gotta make sure I get his name right because I know I'm gonna butcher it, and I know I am. Okay, so excellent soundtrack, excellent atmospheric, and yeah, with these two composers, I mean, what do we expect? Arkatoese Rinoetsky. Rikoensky? Oh crap, I know I butchered it, and I'm sorry. Sorry in advance, but a collaboration between, I'll just say, Arkatoese, I know I butchered the name, and Akira Yamago. Wow, I totally butchered that name. We'll just say Akira. Akira, known for his Silent Hill slash Shadows of the Dam slash he has a certain style for musical style and it works. Yeah, please let Akira keep making music like Silent Hill or the medium, and let the guy who is his other composer, he did Layers of Fear and some other ones. But yeah, get more collaborations between these two. Their soundtrack is literally, for the sake of argument, 10 out of 10. But in my personal opinion, yeah, that's 20 out of 10. Their soundtrack is so atmospheric. It fits every cutscene. Not just that, but it's atmospheric for every cutscene or just like in the gameplay too. But it helps that they got the OG Mary Elizabeth and Troy Baker, who played the Maw. I don't know how that works when you're basically voicing the main antagonist and you're composing the soundtrack. You're actually singing on the soundtrack. But they got the OG Mary Elizabeth, who did the Silent Hill because of her collaboration with Akira and Silent Hill fame. But Akira did the soundtrack, and Mary Elizabeth left her voice, and she has a great singing voice, along with Troy Baker. But when they do get to sing, they have perfect harmony. Yeah, it's classic Akira style, and it helps with art. So it's I know I'm mispronouncing it, but it helps with his musical style too. They both bring a lot to the table with Akira's already previous style with Silent Hill and Akuet's kind of very distinctive like atmospheric music. It's Chef's Kiss. Though it's a perfect collaboration. They both work well in terms of musical composer. You can feel it in terms of the atmospheric or when we get to the cutscenes to pretty much exploring the forest section to just basically go into the spirit world. Every music is never wasted. It just feels extremely well done. And I give it a 20 out of 10 if I'm being biased, but it's for the sake of argument. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 on that soundtrack just alone. I recommend listening to it on Spotify, especially if you don't care about the atmospheric music. You'll definitely hear Akira's music. You'll definitely hear Artquit's. Oh, crap. Artquit's? I'm gonna have to look at behind the scenes how to pronounce his name. And I knew I should have did that, but it kicks. Man, it sucks every time that I get a musical composer. But yeah, well done with this collaboration. Very well done. I highly recommend the soundtrack. Listen to it on Spotify or YouTube if you got that. No, you do have YouTube. But great collaboration in terms of their music. It's great. It's excellent. It's excellent. It's one of the best parts. The game, if the game music was not great, I still would agree it's good. But it's like a bonus. I like that. All right, I think I talked enough. 3 minutes already in. 37 minutes. Believe it. I mean, there was a lot to talk about the medium. Now, here's a major story spoiler, and I'm sorry in advance, but you knew what you walked into. It's a great cliffhanger ending. And the note I made, it's a great cliffhanger ending if it leads to a sequel. If it leads to a sequel, then this was one of a great trilogy. They do a trilogy with this, if the medium made a lot of money. They don't have to literally do a sequel. This could be a one-off game, and I like how it ended, and it's enough of how it ended. It's so ambiguous, and it works. And I'll tell you why. Alright, so major mysteries, stars. Okay, spoiler alert, you've been warned. Major story spoilers have been already answered. Thomas Spirit has apparently spent in the spirit world for 29 years. Get that out of the way. Marion's been talking to him. That's the unknown guy or unknown figurine that we haven't seen at the beginning. We don't know who she was talking to. Gets answered. The reason why she's there in the first place is because of Lily. Lily is basically the person or the personification. She's the host of the mob, the main villain we've been freaking running from and who's been killing us nonstop, and wants to wear our skin. And basically, Marion was brought here to kill Lily. Lily orchestrated the whole thing to kill Lily. The reason why Marianne can't remember anything, pretty much Lily. She talked to the mob, and the mob pretty much convinced Lily to burn her house down. Marion lost her memories, and she's not the same person. And then pretty much Lily orchestrated the whole thing to get her to Niwa house because in order for, as Lily literally says word to word, in order to save Marianne and Lily, she made literally a deal with the devil. The mob is literally the devil. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to say it is the devil, but they kind of set it up to be the devil. Just saying. She literally made a deal with the devil. That's it. Anyway. So, once she made that, pretty much all the kids for Niwa Resort and pretty much everybody died because of Lily. Because the mob cannot fill its hunger until it literally wore people's skin. That aka killing them. Wearing their skin, making them the host, taking their skin, killing them in the most really gruesome ways. I mean, once basically the mob is done with their skin, they don't last long, and that probably means, sadly, suicide. Yeah, again, some dark territory. But why I highly enjoy the cliffhanger ending, and it's going to be a mixed bag. It's probably going to be controversial because Marianne is either choosing to commit suicide, or she's going to kill her sister. To pretty much, but yeah, it's such a great ambiguous ending and great cliffhanger ending because we don't know what she did, and it's such a vague lie at the beginning. It's like that it all starts with the dead girl, and we assume it was pretty much Lily, or we assume it was Lily who died, but it's not. Lily is technically the main antagonist, and she wants Marianne to kill her so she could stop pretty much the Ma, who's essentially the devil, from killing more people. Because if they don't, and Marianne kills herself, she becomes the host. Well, basically, she doesn't become the host, and Lily continues to rampage with basically the mob. But if she does kill Lily, the mob ceases to exist, but she kills her sister. So it's a lose-lose situation overall. And we don't know what choice she makes because they end it right there. It's kind of like, I was like, oh my gosh, that is such a great perfect setup. I was like, if they end it here, it's a great one-off because we don't know what choice she made. We hear a gunshot. We don't know if she killed herself. We don't know if she killed Lily. If they set up for a sequel, then it's going to be a tall order. It's going to be hard to know what they will do in the sequel. It's going to be hard. Because if I was on their storytelling board, they could say that they basically shot each other, but I don't know how they would wing that. So the most logical conclusion is basically Marianne killed Lily. It just makes sense because Lily is so far gone, you could see the bandages that she tried to commit suicide, sadly. Because basically the Ma was trying to manipulate her to get more food, essentially. But yeah, it's and plus, not just that, it was pretty much the duality. We could see at first it's in like the real world, and then it splits. It splits because the Ma is trying to possess Marianne to become the host. And yeah, you've been playing in duality, so you see what's in the spirit world and you see what's in the real world. The real world is her essentially killed her sister, but in the spirit world, the Ma is approaching her and about to kill her. And that's what I like the pretty much the cliffhanger ending because it's not just combining the duality and then she makes a choice. It's just the fact that it's so ambiguous. We don't know where it's going. It could lead to a sequel. There's so many things of how they could approach that ending, continue it. So yeah, it's just so many possibilities, and I love the setup for that. So yeah, they do a medium two. That's a tall order. I don't know how they can do it. I think it's going to be a couple years, or this could be a one-off game. They're not doing it. I just don't see them doing a sequel. They could, but I don't know how they could do it. I feel like they're going to do it like a CGI trailer for the sequel. If they have the budget, and this game made a lot of sales, then they're going to do a CGI trailer, or they're going to do maybe a gameplay trailer. Because Alan Wake technically got a sequel, and it was more than 10 years. So I don't see why the medium couldn't get a sequel. I think it did a whole lot successfully that they could do a sequel. If they do a sequel, I'm on board. I would actually play it. I would want to see what the trail is because now I pretty much watch the story from an insane degree that I kind of know I'm very like well versed in the story that I actually would know what's going on in the sequel to a degree. And that's pretty much my full analysis of that. Now, you guys can definitely watch other YouTube videos, full analysis of the story explained, and even I saw that. But yeah, that's my analysis, my own experience, and of course, I offer commentary from part 1 to part 12 of what I thought about the medium. But I think for the 9 out of 10, I'm glad I took notes. So sorry if that took like close to 40 minutes or probably close to 50, but there was a lot to talk about in terms of the medium. It pleasantly surprised me. I would highly recommend it. But since it might not be your cup of tea, if you don't like psychological horror like this, then yeah, I'd say go ahead and rent it or play it before it disappears and October 17th, sadly, at 12 p.m. But that's okay. The game can be beat in the same day, but it might take you a good 12 hours if you're trying to do all the collectibles like I did. It's easy to get a platinum trophy, but you have to do it all in one walkthrough. You're definitely need an IGN walkthrough or Google walkthrough. The puzzles are not exactly like you'll get it done like right away. You might need some help, but yeah, that's kind of my verdict video. Okay, so the plan is, well, I'll explain the plan after we do the next video. So, of course, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and stay tuned.